Okay, welcome back. So, sorry this took so long to get this one out, but this step, this is what we're ready for, took me forever to get these parts printed. Here's one of them, and for some reason, I don't know what was going on with my printer, but it decided to just start screwing up on me. Shifting, actually these printed kind of okay. The backside got a little bit messy where the support was because they printed this way. So all of this was supported, which was kind of a pain to break all that out, but came out okay. Another part is this one. And this was another one that for some reason just really fought me. I first started printing it with Repeat Your Host. These were printed using Repeat Your Host. I switched to Cura for this one, just because every time I tried with Repeat Your Host with this, it would shift. It'd get like halfway up and shift, and I'm not really sure why it did that. So I tried Cura, and that worked much better. So again, you got these two big pieces. One thing I will point out now, just in case you notice, it won't be an issue for you, but if you notice these two parts, they're not the same. There's, well, obviously the mirror image, but this one has a cutout in it. Yours, the cutout will be on the other side, which is fine. It's a long drawn out story of printer failures and me not paying attention. So mine are inverted, which will be fine, but when you print yours, it'll be the other way around. All right, so don't worry about that if you notice that yours looks different from mine. It's okay. Also, we will need this piece, which this is another one that just wanted to fight. I think it took me like 4 or 5 attempts to get this thing to come out. It's not perfect. I've been tempted to redo it, but I think it's good enough. I think it'll be fine. I can't think of any other way to, I printed it this way on support, so there's a lot of support material under here. It's just that top edge isn't as smooth as I would like it, because it didn't print flat. It was kind of angled just the way it is. So I can't think of a really good way to do that. I could have maybe printed it upside down this way, but then there'd be support material under here, and that would have looked rough. So I don't know. I think that's okay. We also need the parts that go with this, and let's see. If we look at this area right here, that's this piece, and also one of those, and come on, one of those, and this piece right here. What number is that? 115. I printed that as 2 pieces this way, so we'll just have to bond those together. All right, so there's those, and we need the instrument panel or dash, whatever you want to call it, and those are these pieces here. Now again, because those I mirror imaged by mistake, I purposefully mirror imaged these 2 pieces. So again, on yours, this part will be over here, but again, it'll work fine. Don't worry about it. So those 2 pieces, we'll also need one of these, and that's part of the dash as well, and another part of the dash, and we need a windshield panel. And the windshield panel, it's a that translucent blue. That's not as clear or translucent as I wanted, but it matches the rider's visor. I think it will be okay. If you can find a lighter, more see-through blue, I think would be okay. And what else? I think that's it. So we'll start assembling now. I do still need to print the clear piece that goes over here. On the kit, there's a decal that goes on this. I did something different besides a decal, so we'll get to that in just a second. That's actually on the printer right now. And I still need to print the clear lens that goes over top of that, or the translucent blue lens that goes over top of that. But we can start assembling. I forgot one very important piece. That is the engine, and that is right here. Now, on your instructions, the engine is made up of 4 pieces. I just modeled it all up as one final assembled engine. Now, you notice these pieces right here. I will explain those in a little bit. But go ahead and print the engine. And those, well, I guess I'll explain it now. Without those, this was too loose and wobbly within the frames, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a few minutes. So I printed that little piece up just to take up some slack, to make it a little bit stiffer, and that really worked. That really helped out quite a bit. You won't have to do that because I then went back into CAD and I modeled that into CAD. You might need to come in here and just shave off a tiny bit until it fits nicely, or sand through here until it fits nicely. But again, we'll see where that goes in here in just a few minutes. One thing I do want to mention, I used Cura with this, and I think it was like probably the first time I used it, and I used for the support what's called tree support, because I did not want support material on this ledge. I did not want support material on this ledge. So what tree support does is it kind of grows this cool looking like tree around it. And as you can see, that just fits somehow right in like that. And that's how it printed. It printed just like that, which I thought was pretty freaking cool. And it just all came off as one piece. And I really like that. That's I can't bring myself to throw that away. It's almost, I don't know. I have no idea what I could possibly use it for, but it just looks kind of cool. I did another one of those tree support actually with this, because I printed it on the edge this way, and then I did tree support because I didn't want support material on this edge here. So it actually printed, how was it? Oh, like this. Like that, actually. Supported like this, which again, didn't put any support material on top of the surface here. And that just all pulled out in one piece. So, I don't know, it's like I got all these cool looking trees. Anyways, I'll stop going off on those. You're probably all laughing at me, being impressed with my tree supports. But anyways, so go ahead and get all these pieces printed out, and we will start assembly on the dash right here. So let me get some of these pieces out of the way, and we'll start with these pieces right here. So first step is we will attach those together just like that. And using, again, the solvent, and then push those together. All right. So we'll give that just a moment to set. And like I said, in the kit, there is a decal that goes here. But instead of trying to make a copy of that decal or printing it or whatever, well, I kind of 3D printed the basic shape of that decal. I just had a little bit of a booger up here. Not quite sure why. Well, that's just what the nozzle left, and a little bit here. So let me go get that stuff off of the printer, which I have a feeling is going to be easier said than done because it is fairly small. But let me get that and I'll be right back. Okay, so actually let me show you. These are the pieces right here. And those go, and these are quite possibly the smallest pieces I've printed so far. But those go in here. Let me show you what the decal looks like. If I can find it. It's around here somewhere. Here we go. Hold on. Sorry, should have been prepared. So the decal looks like, right there. Looks like that. So I just printed the black areas. Now, again, I've said before, I just want this completely 3D printed. I'm not going to paint it or sand it smooth or anything like that. But I am making a few exceptions, because if you remember, I did put some LEDs in the legs. I will more than likely put LEDs for the headlights on the motorcycle. And once this is bonded on, I will paint yellow, green, and red in those openings. And then like orange in the other one and red in the other one. All right, so I'll just paint inside of the openings. Now I did have an idea to put an LED inside of here, so it'd kind of be backlit. But this, when it's transforming, this moves back and forth. Actually, this way, moves back and forth this way. So I'd had to have cut a channel through here and routed the wires through here. Plus, then I'd have to figure out where to put the battery and the switch, which I'm going to have to put headlights in anyways. And I don't know how well it would actually shine through this. I mean, I could make it work, but I'm trying not to turn this into a major project. This was kind of a filler project until the weather started warming up, so I could start on my normal projects. So I think what I'll do instead of putting LEDs in here, is once I paint the background colors, I'll cover that with like a glow-in-the-dark paint. So when the lights are off, it'll just kind of be glowing. I don't know, it's an idea. We'll just kind of see how it goes. So this one will go here, and I think what I'll do is kind of hold that in place. I've got some springy tweezers, like spring-loaded tweezer things, if I can find them. And I'll use those to kind of clamp that in place, and then just put the solvent on it until it sets. And actually, I might not even need those tweezers. I might just kind of do the solvent and put it on and just see what happens here. Yeah, I'll just kind of use my fingers here just to hold it about where it goes. Something like that. And just do that. Hold that till it gets stiff enough. That's what never mind. And I'll do another little bit up in that corner there, but just give you an idea. And then this will go here. Now I kind of got lucky a little bit because I actually catted the 2/8. I catted those as separate pieces, but given the, I guess the ooze out on the printer, they all stuck together because I was kind of wondering how the heck I was going to position those in there and have them look halfway decent. So I kind of got lucky there, but I'll just leave that like that. Put a little bit of solvent on there just to lock that down. And I think this is going to end up looking maybe a little better than I actually thought it would. I don't know. I'm kind of liking it so far. And of course we've got the little round one right there. That looks like the hole kind of got. I'm afraid if I mess with it, I'm going to break it. So I'm going to mess with it just to get that little piece out. It's just a little string from the printer. Man. I don't know, maybe that doesn't look too horrible. Let me put that on, because I know if I try to dig that out, I'm going to break it. Maybe if I put that flat part on the bottom, it'll look like it was on purpose. That's it. I did that on purpose. Hold on. I will include these parts on Thingiverse. close enough right there. And of course I said that's close enough, and I start messing with it. Got a little bit too much solvent in there, just kind of mop that up a bit. All right, that's going to have to work because it's on. All right. Man, that wasn't too fiddly. I hate that word. Sorry, there's a lot of YouTubers overseas making these Eagle Moss kits, which is, they're nice. I like them, and the YouTubers are cool, and I've subscribed and all that. But they use that word fiddly quite a bit. I don't know if I've ever really heard that word fiddly until I started watching them. And then this piece, now on the plastic model, that's just part of the part. But for ease of printing, I had to make it a separate piece. So that goes on here. Just like that. There we go. Okay. Now, one thing about the printing, I got a few artifacts here. I'm not hating them because I could just say that that's simulated air vents. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. I'm not quite sure why that came out on the printer. This was actually my second attempt at these pieces. This was my first attempt right here. And you notice I got a lot of weird, like voids or holes along the side here. Got the same artifacts here. Again, some voids and holes in here. This one I printed with three shells, and all I did was I increased that to 4, and then those sides came out pretty much perfect. So I would print those at 4 shells, and I think I did 3 tops and 3 bottoms. And this guy here now goes on right there. So we'll get that one. And one thing I like about the solvent over using CA is that you have a little bit more time to play with it and position it before it sets. And you know, that didn't really seem to do anything. Let's try that again. Probably just because it's not a flat surface. Now it does evaporate kind of quickly, so you want to get the part on kind of quickly, but you do have, like I said, more time to get it positioned because that plastic will stay kind of soft and movable for a little bit. But when you use the CA, sometimes as soon as you get set on there, it sets, and then it's locked in. All right, I think that'll work. It's not too bad. Again, I'll go in here and paint in there later. I'm not going to make you watch me paint in all those little holes there. But again, I have not printed the clear part that goes over here yet. Now when I do, and I will put the file, I'll put the CAD on Thingiverse, I'll probably just make it, I don't know, like 1 millimeter thick. And then when you print that, what I plan on doing, I don't know if it'll work or not, but what I plan on doing is printing 1 bottom layer and 0 top layers, 0 sides, and 0 infill. And it'll just give me a really thin piece to put over top of that. If it's not translucent enough, then what I may do is just get some, find some clear translucent blue plastic, cut out to shape, and then just bond on there. I know that technically wouldn't be 3D printed, but neither are the springs that are in the ankle pieces, and neither are some of the screws. And Yeah, and even the model kit has a few metal parts. So, you know, it's my project. I can build it however I want to. So hopefully I didn't say this is going to be 100% 3D printed, because if I ever said that, then I guess I lied. It'll be 99% 3D printed. Now, this part right here. Let's go ahead and take this, put a little bit of the solvent here, and then this piece right like that to make that round. Again, I had to do that in 2 separate pieces so that it would print nicely. Otherwise, you would have had a lot of support here, and it just wouldn't have come out as nice. And there's that. Okay, now, while those are setting up, let's take a look at some other things that we need to verify the fit of prior to doing any more assembly. On these side pieces here, we need to make sure that these fit on that previous build. Now these set in like this, that goes in like this, and this will go on like that. As you can see with this one, I've already got this one done, and nice friction fit on here. And you'll notice that these parts have a little area right here with stops on it, right there. And on the other part of the bike body, there are stops here and here. So when it's all the way this way, it stops right there. That's as far as it can go. And then you flip it up, and it stops right there. You may need to trim those stops a little bit until it's like level that way, okay? Might have to. I had to do quite a bit on mine. I went back into CAD and adjusted it on CAD, but I didn't go too far. So if yours stops like here, actually I think it's where mine stopped, and I trimmed it to get it to here. So yours hopefully will be okay. But you might have to do just a little bit of trimming. And the way I did that was just come in here and just very gently like slice here. Just slice in here until it opened up enough. The other way is fine. Also, the inside, this is a, inside here, that is one of those bushings made from ABS. So I just kind of ran a razor through there and smoothed that out a bit. But I did most of the work on this piece right here, just sanding this until I had a nice, good fit in here. Again, I can still turn it nicely, but it's not just going to flop and fall out. Okay? So that's one thing we've got to do. I still have to do that to the other side. I got to sand that down on the other side. Another thing that has to fit is the engine goes in this track right here. So the engine sets in like this, and it's got to be able to slide up, and it's got to be able to slide down. And that has to work in both halves. It's got to work in both halves this way. This is why I added these pieces right here, because without those, that engine is just all, it was like wobbly this way, and it would just flop around. But again, your engine will print with that already on it. That keeps it a lot firmer, and it allows it to slide more. So you will need probably need to sand this edge here. You don't need to do anything over here. Just sand that edge, and again, just kind of slice down here a tiny bit, do a little bit and check, and do a little bit and check until it moves fairly freely in there. All right, so you got to get that fit. What else? You also need, for this piece, you need this to fit in like that. All right. I need to do a little bit more work on this one because it's not going in all the way. I think I might just shorten that a tiny bit. I think the problem was I think there's support material still in the bottom there that I can't quite get out. So I'm just going to sand that post down a little bit so that goes in all the way like this. And it should flip up. Yeah, it should flip up about 90 degrees or so, about like that. I had to cut and scrape this edge but I went back into the CAD file and took a little bit off of that edge. So hopefully you won't have to do anything here. But you do need that to go about that much, about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit more looking at this angle right here. All right. So again, that's got to fit both sides. And what else has to fit? These pieces right here, those are right here in your instructions. Those need to be able to fit in these holes here, which it's a little bit tight. I may clean those up just a little bit more, but actually it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. I may leave that one. Come on. But again, same on both sides. And we need this to be able to fit on this post here. I just sanded, I only had to sand it a little bit. It really didn't take that much. And these need to go on this. And again, I didn't really have to do anything with that at all. So let's go ahead and put these together. So with this piece, looking at this, with the round part more up towards the top side, we're going to take one of these with the round part more towards the bottom side, and we're going to press it on like this. Notice you've got a long part and a short part. Short part goes inside. And then same thing with this one. Just like that. So that should be able to do that. All right, should look like this. Now the instructions specifically say not to glue any of this, but I think once it's all in and together, I might CA that joint right here just to keep it from wanting to wobble, but I really don't think you have to. And then this all goes like this, like that. Now, I'm not sure exactly how far down that needs to go. So what I'm going to do, I think, is, I should flip, there it goes. I'm going to push it down until it just starts to touch that edge here, keeping them kind of straight. I think on the model kit, I think there might be a small ledge right up here that would stop the kit piece from going down, but I think I'm just going to leave it like that for now, maybe just a tiny bit more like that. Okay, that should be good right there. Now it's a tight enough fit, it's not going to fall off or move around. But once I get the whole thing moving and transforming, like from the backpack to the bike, then I might lock that in solid. But for now, that's good, and since those edges overlap, these aren't going to fall off. So I'm going to leave that alone for now. So there's that. We've got the dash, we've got the engine. We also need to make sure this little bushing right here fits. It's this one that goes right in here. So if we take a look at this piece, this should go in just like this. You may need to sand or trim a tiny bit until the top part fits over without that piece being in the way. Before we glue any of this together, we need to make sure that that hole fits that shaft here, which as you can see, it clearly does not. So we're going to have to open up that hole and sand down and shave that shaft there until again we have a nice smooth friction fit. All right, I will do that off camera just because it might take a little while. And then once that's done, we should be able to start assembling all of this, I hope. So let me get all these pieces fit, just like I told you to, then I'll come back to you and we'll start bonding everything together. All right, well, that took a little bit more effort than I really planned on. Just fair warning, you will need sandpaper and razor. Nothing is bonded yet, it's just stuck together. Once that gets kind of clamped and bonded, that'll be a little bit tighter. there are side pieces that go here that are in the next step that will kind of hold that up in position, I hope. And then that slides down that way when it goes into the backpack. But anyways, like I said, I haven't bonded anything yet. It's just all sitting in place. Piece down here, you know, that can flip. Let's see, should move that way. So that can move around. And again, you just got to make sure that the engine can slide up and down, and make sure that this piece can flip up. And what happens is, once that's up, and then you fold this up, this plugs into here. Now it's kind of a loose fit. I didn't sand either of those parts, and it just kind of goes right in. But I don't think that's an issue, that it's kind of a loose fit. I think it's okay. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting solvent in here and just clamping. I'll just kind of do one section at a time. I'll probably just start with right here. Once that's kind of set, then I'll come down and bond and clamp down here. And then right in here, just kind of get that bonded together that way. So anyways, I'm not going to make you watch me put solvent and clamps on. But it's really kind of starting to come together. It's starting to look like something. I did not put the windscreen on yet, obviously. That'll kind of be the last thing I do, because I don't want it getting in the way and getting broken off later. But anyways, just to kind of give you a heads up or a preview, probably won't even be able to get it all on the camera here, but this goes like that, and the back wheel, of course, that goes on the back side. See if I can just kind of snake that under here, and that extends out kind of like that. Let me move the camera here, so get it all in there. So it's coming along. This definitely, the bike part definitely has a lot more moving pieces and parts that have to work together than the rider does. So in that regards, the rider was quite a bit easier to CAD and print and put together. But I'll go ahead and get those bonded and clamped up and show you what it looks like. Of course, it'll look just like it does now. But so I'm probably just going to go ahead and call this video done, just because it's going to be way too long if I don't. But just imagine this all, just pretend it's done. All right. Next step will be 16. And in step 16, we add the side fairings here, and we add the front pieces here that will help hold that on. Also, when we get to 16, I will show you the completed thing with the visor on and the painted digits in here. It might take a while to get to that step 16, just because I've been having some weird problems with my printer. I tried printing one of those side pieces yesterday, and about 30 minutes in, I just got a pretty big shift. I don't know if it's the printer, because when I was having shift issues with another part, like I had the part here and it shifted in the x-axis, so I rotated, I redid it, but I rotated it 90 degrees and it shifted the same direction, which would have been the y-axis that time. So it almost seems like it's a G-code thing. I'm not quite sure what's going on with it. But I'll try again. Hopefully we'll be able to get to step 16 by the end of the weekend. But anyways, if you're building the same and following along, good luck. I don't know, I probably shouldn't have said that. But it's definitely quite a bit more work than I anticipated when I started. So just bear in mind, you will definitely need, there's a lot of like friction points that need to fit just right. Too loose or too tight, it's not good. So you'll need this for scraping out holes. You'll need 50 or 80 grit sandpaper for sanding stuff. It's quite a bit of work. But it's looking pretty cool. Hopefully it'll be worth it when it's all done. So thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see you next time.